Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, and welcome to the APFA August 12th Retirement Virtual Seminar. We're so glad to have you on with us today. My name is Josh Black. I am APFA National Secretary, and I'll be moderating this session today. So for those of you who took the October VOP effective 10/1/21, or maybe you are coming back from your EVLOA and want some general retirement information, or you're maybe near the end of your career and wanting some information about retirement, you're in the right place. We have two really knowledgeable individuals here today that will get you the information that you need. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Kim and Patrick.
Super. Thank you, Josh. Again, welcome to the August 12th, 2021 APFA Retirement Town Hall Seminar.
Give me one second. Sure. And we're going to get this PowerPoint up for you guys. There we go.
All right. And you have to activate this mouse. There we go. Who are we? We are Kim Coates-Tuck, APFA National Retirement Specialist, and I am Patrick Hancock, the Retirement Specialist Emeritus. We always throw Ron Harris, DFW Flight Attendant, up on this because a lot of what you're going to see today, he was instrumental in getting together. So we're always happy to give a shout out to Ron. All right, that's who we are. Who we are not is we are not the company. This is a union meeting, and I have worked for American Airlines for way too many years, and I've developed a bit of a cynicism toward my employer, and if I say something about my employer that you feel is insulting and demeaning, union meeting. Okay, we are not your financial advisors. We are not your attorneys. We are not your Medicare advisors. We are not your Social Security advisors. You may find that you need all of these people at one point or another. You will definitely need to see a financial advisor, but we are not it. But we can help direct you to the people that can help you. All right, now I've got a question for you. We have 24,623 members as of July 2021. How many do you think are over the age of 80? So 80 years old and older. You're wrong. It's 8. All right.
It changed recently.
It did. We had a bunch of birthdays, and and then going on down 75 to 79, we've got 112, 595, 1691, 3640, and then the largest group, yay, 55 to 59.
Yay, I'm still in that group.
5,655. That means that we have 11,000, almost 12,000 flight attendants over the age of 55 and eligible to retire today. So if it seems like APFA is putting a lot of money, time, and effort into retirement, that's why. I mean, that's almost half of our work group. So it's amazing when you look at that. And then just looking at rounding this out, looking at the rest of it, you'll notice that it's kind of steady, and then you get down to the youngsters, 30 and under, and it's quite a large group. Of course, not too many 20 to 24. It looks like, almost like we hadn't been hired in the last 2 years. Oh, yeah, all right, never mind. All right, so, Kim, what can you give us info on housekeeping?
Which one does it? Okay, so our good slide presentation today follows the APFA retirement packet, which is downloadable on the APFA website on the retirement page. So if you don't already have a copy, you can download it there. If you have any questions, submit them today via chat. That's our format. You should see the chat button on the Teams screen on your computer, and hopefully if you are on your phone, you can do it that way as well. All right, my mouse isn't, my right or left? Okay, so checklist. We're going to cover a lot today, and we're going to kind of give you some general guidelines. we want to let you know that in our retirement packet, there are some very useful checklists, and they're at the rear of the retirement packet, and they'll tell you what you need to do 60 days out, 90 days out, 30 days out, 30 days after retirement. There's also a list of contacts, and the most important of those being retirement@apfa.org, where you can get all your questions answered that we might not cover today. So we have a lot of questions about retirement and what it really means, and we've kind of broken it down into some components for you. So part of our retirement is our medical benefits. Retirement also includes basic retirement benefits such as your past privileges and pension and 401k benefits. We've kind of revised that to 401k/pension benefits because moving forward there will be less and less people that actually have a pension, and the 401k is going to be a much more important component of your retirement. All right, the medical benefits we refer to as the ever-shrinking basket, and they've been greatly reduced as a result of bankruptcy. We used to have pre-funded medical benefits. We no longer do, which is why a lot of us are hanging around until we're eligible for Medicare. Important questions you need to be thinking about if you're going to retire. What do we need to retire? What do you get in retirement? And what about income? That's a biggie. What else do I need to research? We're going to cover a little odds and ends, things you might not have thought about, so stay tuned. So what do you need to retire? Well, you need to be eligible. And our eligibility, you need money, and you need to be ready. That's a biggie. So some people are kind of on the fence and trying to decide what they want to do right now, and hopefully this presentation will help out. So in terms of eligibility, in order to retire, you have to have at least 10 years of company seniority based on your date of hire. And your age plus your company seniority have to equal 65 or more. That's what AA refers to as the 65-point plan. Patrick, do you want to talk about money?
Sure, let me talk about money. Okay, and we kind of do that backwards, you know, you work backwards on that. So if you're doing long-range planning, there's two major questions you have to answer. The first is, how much do I need to have saved on the day I retire to last me the rest of my life? That's going to be the goal, and you work towards that goal while you're active. I also want to point out that on that day, you're probably going to be the richest you will ever be in your life. Take pictures of your bank accounts and look back on them fondly in the future, because now you're going to start spending that money down. And then the other question is, okay, if that's the goal, where I'm here, what do I need to save every year to reach that goal? And that's what a financial planner is really helpful doing. And if you're just retiring soon and you haven't begun to address these questions, you're going to have what I think corporate speak says challenges, because retirement's a long-range goal. And my favorite on the screen is that one on the bottom right. I said you held Christmas off. Yay. All right. So the general goal is that you want to maintain the same lifestyle you had while you were working. You don't want to have, you know, all of a sudden have this huge shift in lifestyle. And my problem with that general goal is I'm really tired of being poor. I'm going to be one of those wealthy retirees I see on the, you know, the Viagra web ads. But apparently that's not the plan. Apparently it's just to maintain the same lifestyle you had while you were working. So you need to calculate this. And for retirement at age 67, the first question you have to come up with is, how long are you going to live?
That's a toughie.
What? Oh, come on. How long are you going to live? That's the first of our answers? That's not an answer. Yeah, I know. And that's part of the problem. It's only, you know, a guesstimate. Nobody knows for sure, and actually the people that do know for sure are actually kind of sad because, yeah. And that's going to be the most frustrating part of retirement planning for you, is that you want good, solid answers. And there really aren't good, solid answers. What there are educated guesses, you know, informed guesses, and yeah. So that becomes the first of it. Well, let's look at that one. Your life expectancy in 2021 is 77.3 years. By the way, Our life expectancy went down in 2020. It was the largest decline since World War II.
Thank you, COVID.
Thank you, COVID. Thank you, opioid epidemic. Both of those had a huge impact on our life expectancy. However, it's 74.5 years for men and 80.2 years for women.
Yay!
Guys, I got a question. If we allegedly run the world, how did we let that happen? I mean, shouldn't longevity be one of those benefits of being the boss? Apparently not. That's going to be less for African Americans and more for Hispanics. I got all this information out of the National Vital Statistics Report, Volume 64, Book 6. It is the best cure for insomnia I have ever found in my life. You take that with you on a layover, you will sleep like a baby, just telling you. But that becomes the first of our guesstimates. But the problem is, it's just an average. Half of us are going to die sooner, half of us are going to die later. I love telling the story. I started going gray in high school. And yeah, it was awful. You know, you're trying to fit in, and here I am getting gray hair in high school. And I went home one day and I said, hey, Mom, I discovered in biology class that this gray hair is all your fault. Everything up in a man's hair comes on the mother's genes. So what's going to happen next? Am I going to go bald in college? I mean, did any of my uncles or grandparents or anybody go bald early? She says, oh, honey, none of them ever lived that long. Gee, thanks, Mom. A good genetic heritage is the best gift you can give your kids. So the question you have to answer is, which half are you in? I mean, you know, we all want to be in the half that lives longer, but and it's really hard to know if you make the right decision, but you kind of have to guess. How long did your family live? Your mom 102 and still driving to bingo every night? Yeah, all right. All right, so which half are you in? But age isn't the only guesstimate that we have to work with. You have to do salary projection, because we know salaries always go up. Well, unless you're a flight attendant. Yeah, okay. How about inflation? We know inflation always goes up. Well, except for the past 11 years. Yeah. How about the stock market? Yeah, and it's going there. All right. So, yeah, and like I say, it's very frustrating to have all of these unknowns. And we want people to get the right answer, and so there's a lot of help out there to try and get people to get the right answer. But, yeah. Now for the hardest question of all. Are you ready to retire? Yeah, bye-bye. And see, the thing is, you need to be ready. We talk to a lot of people that have already retired. You know, the company finds out some new way to screw them, so they call us, we fix it. And before we hang up, we say, wait, I got a question for you now. Did you retire at the right point in time? Was it the right decision? Was it the right time? And like 98, 99% of them are like, oh, it's the best decision I ever made. I don't know why I waited. My life is so full. I don't know how I had time to go to the airport. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to that 1 or 2% that aren't happy. Why aren't you happy? What could you have done different? Because I want to learn. And almost inevitably, the problem is they didn't plan. $40,000, man, that'll last me the rest of my life. Yeah, not so much. Or they took the sudden out. The sudden out? What's the sudden out? Well, you know, that's where your supervisor and the union rep meet you on the jet bridge. Yeah, and as you're walking up the jet bridge, the union rep whispers in your ear, I got your retirement, I recommend you take it. Yeah, they didn't plan. And I have good news for all of you who are here today. You're planning. You're going to be in the 98, 99% that's happy. And the question is, have you reached that point? And because we're flight attendants, we will ask, you know, we'll talk to everyone. We'll talk to our sister. We'll talk to, you know, our spouse, maybe. We'll talk to, you know, that buddy bidder. We'll talk to that non-rev we've never seen before on the jump seat. And all of them, because they want you to have the best in life, will give you the answer that is right for them. Because they don't know what's right for you. And that's just the way people are. Only you are going to be able to answer that question. And you're probably not going to be 100% sure. I don't know if you remember back when you were going through stewardess training, that we had some people who were just definitive. That's what they wanted to do. They've known since they were 4 years old that they wanted to be a flight attendant. And most of us are like, yeah, we're going to give it a try, see how it works out. And for those of us here, seems to have worked out okay, because you're talking about retiring from the job. But so you have to answer that question. have you reached that point? Questions? Josh?
Great. So thank you guys. We received some pre-submitted questions, and we'll go to a couple of those right now. The first one, can I retire while I'm on IOD, or must I be on active duty to do so? I think Kim's taking that one.
I'll be happy to take that one. So if you're on IOD or on any unpaid status and you're eligible to retire, you can retire at any time. You don't have to come back and get active in order to retire.
Great.
That's a myth that seems to be floating out there.
Great, thank you for that information. How far in advance do I have to let the company know I want to retire? In other words, can I ask to retire immediately and then do all the paperwork?
All right, so the company likes to have at least 30 days notice, and preferably between 2 weeks notice and 30 days notice is, the going way to do it. I think there's a U.S. Airways form that has to be filled out for the legacy U.S. Airways flight attendants that says they have to give at least 2 weeks notice. But we've all known people that have come in from a flight and said, I'm not going to do one more trip, I'm going to give notice today, and this is my last trip. So legally, I don't think there's a whole lot that they can do to you if you just give them 1 day's notice, but the preference is to give them between 30 days and 2 weeks notice.
Great. I think we're ready to continue.
Kim?
Okay, so we've covered what do you need to retire. Now we're going to talk a little bit about what you get in retirement. So you get travel privileges, you get paid out for your vacation and sick time, you get a fabulous retirement gift, you get the status of being an AA retiree, and you get the option to purchase some really expensive retiree medical benefits. But only if you're between 55 and 65, have 10 years of seniority, and are not yet eligible for Medicare. No little criteria there. Okay, so travel benefits. You get your D1, D2R, D2P, D3, AA20, and 20% off Advantage tickets. All non-rev travel is booked on the non-rev travel planner, which is accessible now instead of through JetNet through the Retirees website, which is www.retirees.aa.com. Your service charges and taxes are charged to your credit card just like they are now. A pro tip, which if you're not already doing it, you should, is get your D3s to put their own credit card information in the system so you don't have to chase them down to get the service charges. All right, travel is booked through the My ID travel link, and it's also available on the Retirees website. Unfortunately, and this is what makes us all really sad, and some people wait longer to retire, no more jump seat authority and no KCM.
How am I going to get on?
Kind of a pain. All right, there are some non-rev friendly travel agencies such as Turks and Dargal, and if you want to go on one of their cruises, they give us a good discount. Ron Harris said he took one of the, what he called a booze cruise out of Galveston, and he said he was feeling kind of depressed, and then he took the cruise, and he felt fabulous because he was the youngest, cutest one on the boat. So he highly recommends it. Also, another tip is to get your global entry and TSA pre-check renewed if it's coming up prior to your retirement. Let the company pay for it one more time. This may not work for the people that already took the VOP and are going to retire on October 1st. However, some of the people whose EVLOAs are being canceled, may be on the fence about whether they're going to come back or not. So this is something to think about that you could do before you leave. All right, sick and vacation time. Your unused sick time will be paid out at a paltry rate of $8.65 per sick hour. So we recommend you use all of your sick time before you leave. Once you get to retirement age, there's usually some sort of medical procedure that needs to be accomplished prior to your retirement, just saying. Because this is termination pay when you retire, your sick time cannot be deferred into your 401k. Your unused and accrued vacation, so that means anything you've bid for that you haven't used, and anything that you've accrued but not even bid for, will be paid out at 4 hours per day at your rate of pay, so long as you have at least 7 days of vacation or more. If for some reason you have 6 days or less of vacation, it'll be paid out at 3.5 hours per day at your rate of pay. Oh, you get a retirement gift as well. I did mention that. You contact your flight service manager within the last 30 days of your employment in order to get the retirement gift catalog mailed to you. If you're one of the VOP participants, you should have already received your retirement gift catalog. If not, you can email employee.recognition@aa.com and say, where's my catalog? Why haven't I received it? The catalog comes with a commemorative certificate. It's suitable for framing. You want to make sure that they got your years of service and your name correct on it. Also, options for gifts include a wide array of fabulous items. Some might consider them dust catchers, but, you know, to each his own. Here's an example.
Paperweight.
The famous crystal tail. You know, a lot of people have that.
And I've always said a pretty tail is a good asset.
I've heard that before too. All right, your status is going to be changing when you retire, so be ready. You're going to go from Sky Goddess to Cat Rancher. Meow. All right, you're going to get a retiree ID. This will be a symbol of your new status. You have to submit a form online, and you can either do it prior to your retirement on JetNet, or you can wait until after you retire and submit it from the retiree's website. Again, for the people that took the VOPs, you should have already received your retiree ID. You use it for discounts on shipping, our good old FedEx discount, hotels, car rentals. What a lot of people may not realize is that you don't actually need your retiree ID in order to use your travel benefits. You use your government-issued ID for that, although it is helpful to have it when you're traveling. You get access to the retiree's website, retirees.aa.com, as part of your new status. Payroll access is available on the retiree's website, the new employee pay portal, and archives of e-pays and paperless pay for pay tax information that you need prior to October 15th of 2020. Your detailed sequence history is not available via the retiree's website, so if you want to print up your sequence history and remember who you flew with in the last year you worked and everything, you need to print all that up prior to your retirement. If you're not able to retire, guess what? You can just quit. Some people may not, you know, maybe have a wealthy husband. They don't want to wait around for those travel benefits. They've decided they don't like people, they don't like to travel, and they're out of here. So what do you do in that case? You notify your flight service manager and say, I quit. Your vacation will be paid out at the contractual rate. If you're LAA and you qualify for a pension, you can draw it at some point in the future, depending on your age and eligibility. If you're LUS and you have a pension, you'll need to notify the PBGC and find out when you can start that pension. And since you're not retiring, you're just quitting, you're not going to get paid out for your sick time, unfortunately. Use it all before you leave. Any questions?
All right. While on leave, I got married. Congratulations on your marriage.
Yay.
I've mailed in the information to the company, but I've not seen the change yet. If my retirement starts before they update my information, how will I respond? It's been a month since I've sent in the marriage license and his information.
Every benefit that you have is going to be based on the date of that marriage from here on out. So you just proceed as though the company has updated everything. If there are any life events and you want to add your spouse, you go ahead and do it. And you keep bugging the benefits department on a daily basis until they confirm that your information has been updated.
Great. I have some D1 and travel passes in my bank. Will those expire on October 1st when I officially retire, or will they go through the end of the year? If they, let's take that part first.
Okay, so your D1s do not expire. In the year that you retire, because you have the same number of D1s as a retiree that you do as an active employee, If you haven't used any, you'll still have them all after you retire until the end of the year. If you've used 2 and you have, 4 left, then you're going to have the balance of what you had. Also, every year you'll get the same number of D1s as a retiree that you got as an active employee, and those D1s do not have an R after them. They're just normal D1s. So that's a good thing to know that a lot of people don't realize as well.
Good. So the second part of this question, when will my new allotment of passes be available?
Everyone's new allotment of passes is available on January 1st, so that's the same as before.
Doesn't matter if you're a retiree or a active employee. Yeah, great. Okay, can we do an option for sick leave payout? Patrick?
Yes, actually, you don't even get an option. They send you in your last paycheck, not to be confused with the last paycheck as an active employee. You get a final paycheck, and that your sick leave will be cashed out on that final paycheck.
If you're eligible for the 65
If you're eligible for the 65-point plan and are retiring. If you're quitting, you lose it.
Now, the second part of this, they said they want it in the credit union instead of their 401k.
You can't put it in the 401k because it's separation pay. But what you can do is, every time you see a paycheck coming up in a couple of weeks, you can go in and you can adjust where you want that deposited. You could absolutely go in and say, hey, for that very final paycheck, I want, 85% of it deposited into the credit union or 100%, but you can adjust it to target the deposit into whatever financial institution you want it to go to.
Great. I will be returning from an ELIGIBILITY, and I'm seriously considering retirement from a job that is different from my leave at COVID. How can I retire with getting my vacation sick pay without coming back to work at the end of the year? No, yeah.
Okay, I can take that. So we've kind of covered this. If you're eligible for the 65-point plan, you're automatically going to get paid out for your sick and vacation, and you don't have to do anything. You don't have to come back and get active or anything like that.
Cool. Thank you. Question about vacation payouts. I'm on the 12-month payout beginning October 2020. I accrue vacation time from January 2020 to October 2020. Will that 9 months payout for vacation accrual be paid after my retirement benefit commencement date of October 1st, 2021?
Yes, it will. So just like I mentioned before in the slideshow, any vacation that you've bid for and haven't used, along with any vacation that you've accrued and haven't even bid for, will be paid out upon your retirement.
Great. And I think we're ready to continue on the presentation.
All right, super. Let's talk about money. What about income? All right, hey, in retirement, it is ideal to have multiple streams of income coming in. I like to think of it as being, you've got your 401k, you've got your IRA, you've got your Social Security, you've got your savings, and if you have one, a pension. And if you've got all 5 streams of income coming in, it's kind of like a 5-legged stool. And a 5-legged stool is really, really stable. And it's stable because if one of those gets kicked out from underneath you, it may hurt, but you're still going to be okay because of the alternate streams of income. One of the legs getting kicked out, let's pick on Social Security for a minute. What if the United States Congress were to say, you saved money in a tax-deferred account, and then you want more money from us from the Social Security? You don't need as much as somebody else. Oh, they wouldn't do that. Oh, yeah? Do you remember when you used to think that Social Security age was 65, and now it's not anymore? Now it's 67 or somewhere in between those two? Yeah, that's because back when Ronald Reagan was president, the United States Congress decided they were going to balance the budget. And they balanced the budget by changing the year in which you could start Social Security. That didn't balance the budget. All it did was take some stuff away from us, so we're anticipating it. But they figured that by the time we figured out how they'd screwed us over, they'd all be dead. They were right, but I'm still pissed off about it. But yeah, if they were to do that, you would still have your other streams of income. I contrast that with the over 50% of people on Social Security that only have Social Security. Oh my God, how stable is a one-legged stool? I mean, how how secure is your life when your entire financial life depends on the good graces of the United States Congress? Every time I see this list, I'm so grateful I work for a unionized workforce where the union has worked hard to make sure that we have all these other options, the 401k, the savings, pensions. Hey, speaking of 401k, what about my 401k loan? Well, you've got a couple of options. First, you can just continue to pay the loan back on its regular schedule because you don't have a paycheck. You don't have to have it electronically debited out of your checking account, but you just pay it back on the same schedule. You're cool. Or you can just say, hey, screw it, I'm going to stop making payments, and they're going to take the outstanding balance out as a distribution, which will be taxed at your ordinary income rate. Oh, and by the way, if you're not 59.5, we're going to hit you with an extra 10% penalty. That's a really bad idea. Yeah, don't do that. Okay. Hey, one last thing to remember on the 401k. Your 401k will freeze solid for the first 30 days after you exit from the company. You can't make changes, you can't add money, you can't roll money, it'll take money out. So if you need money in that first 30 days, you might consider rolling money out of your 401k prior to exiting. And I do want to point out that if you need money out of your 401k in the first 30 days of retirement, you may not quite be ready. Just saying, okay. Hey, you can also roll your 401k into an IRA. You can take it to your new 401k. You go get a job. Hi, welcome to Walmart. Welcome to Walmart. They've got a great 401k. They're happy to have you roll your American Airlines 401k money over there. Or you can just leave it with Fidelity and manage it the same way you've been managing it your whole career, going to netbenefits.com/AA. Now, let's talk about IRAs. IRAs have a pre-tax and a post-tax, which is the Roth, just like the 401k, you know? There are, however, limits on the IRA, income limits, and I believe that at $122,000 for a single and $193,000 for a married couple, they stop allowing you to contribute to your IRA. As a matter of fact, I got a phone call a couple months ago from my neighbor across the street, just ranting and raving. They won't let me contribute to my IRA for 2020. I'm like, it's because you made too much money. Cry me a river. I mean, really. And then you also have this conversion option we were talking about earlier, where you can roll your 401k into an IRA. And they kind of sound like the same thing, 401k, IRA, tax deferred. Yeah, they're not. They're very different products. The 401k is a function of a federal law, ERISA, and the IRA is a function of state law. And that means they have some very different characteristics. For example, the way people inherit money from a 401k is different than the way people inherit money from an IRA. The liability, whether or not you have a judgment creditor against you. What? Yeah, say you run over the neighbor's chihuahua and they sue you for everything you've got. With your 401k, it's 100% protected. They can't take your 401k even if they get all the way down to taking your sandals. However, with an IRA, it depends on what state you live in. So I think it's Michigan, where you get to keep the first $50,000 in your IRA, and the grieving Chihuahua owner gets the rest. Yeah. So the IRA may be a good choice, and it may not be, but you don't want to just blindly stumble into it because some advisor said, hey, I think it's a good idea you roll it over and buy all these new products. Because when you do roll that over and buy the new products, that advisor makes commission. So they may not be 100% objective in whether or not you should roll things over. It may be a great idea, but just make sure you know what you're doing. All right, questions?
Right. Do we have specific Fidelity persons that will help to set up a specific amount to be withdrawn on a monthly basis? I've called Fidelity and inquired about this before, but they never seem to be able to actually give their opinion or recommendation. Thank you for any suggestions.
Okay, that's actually, I had to go to the website and look that up just to be sure. And you can go in and say, hey, I want you to send me $1,000, $2,000, whatever number you want as your monthly income on September 1st, but you've got to talk to an advisor to do that. I'm not sure why they can't automate that, but you still have to call and talk to an advisor. When you're talking to that advisor and say, hey, I want you to send $1,000 on September 1st to my credit union checking account, and then I want you to do that the first of every month thereafter as a reoccurring disbursement. And they're like, cool, like click the box, you're done.
All right, we're good to continue.
All right. Kim, what can you tell us about Social Security?
Okay, Social Security. You know, we never thought we'd be talking about this. It was the realm of old people talking about their aches and pains and their Social Security and get off my lawn. But now, funny enough, we're getting to be that age, Patrick.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn. Okay, Social Security may be taken as early as age 62, as late as age 70. There's no increase after age 70, so once you hit age 70, you should be taking it. Working or not, you should be taking it. Their website for more information about everything Social Security is www.ssa.gov. Married couples have some very complicated decisions to make about how to draw their Social Security. If you're single, you have 9 options. If you're married, there are a whopping 81 different options for how to take your Social Security, which is one of the reasons why at the beginning of our presentation we said, talk to a Social Security advisor if you have questions. And Social Security advisors are available. Also apps. If you're a geek like Patrick, you might want to put an app on your phone to figure out how to maximize your Social Security. Don't know that I would bother, but it's available. So when should I start? That's the question. If you look at the 2 lines, the blue line is someone who took their Social Security early. They're going to get more until they hit that midpoint. The red line is somebody who started their Social Security at the full Social Security age. So where do the lines cross? The average age of death. So it goes back to that question that Patrick raised earlier. When am I going to die? If you know somehow, you know, psychically that you're going to die early, you should take it early because you're going to get more up front. And if you know you're going to live longer, the red line, you're going to, you know, it's going to take a while to maximize it out, but you're going to get more in the long run if you take it at your full Social Security age. So if you're like Patrick's uncles who did not live long enough to find out if they were going to go bald, take it early. If you're going to be like my grandmother who was still driving to the library at the age of 88, you want to take it at your full Social Security age or later. Look at your family history, your general health, and make that decision accordingly. So pros and cons of taking your Social Security early at age 62. One pro is you get more years of payment. So a lot of people go, I don't know how long I'm going to live. I'm just going to start it now because I can. Another pro, you can get the money now if you need it. So some cons, you're going to have lower payments for the rest of your life than if you waited till your full Social Security age or age 70. And another con is that if you're going to still work after you start early Social Security, you will be subject to income limits up until the time you hit your SSNRA, which is your Social Security normal retirement age. So for 2021, the income limit is $18,960. So if you make more than that, you would deduct $1 of benefits for every $2 you earn over that limit. So break-even point, we've discussed again the average age of death. And Patrick and I can't figure out when people are going to die. And most of us don't even know that answer ourselves. You just have to go with your best guess. So, full Social Security. Patrick, are you going to talk about this stuff?
Sure.
Income limits for the Social Security normal retirement age.
Sure. We've talked about the income limit if you're drawing early 62 before you get to the year in which you turn your full Social Security normal retirement age. That's that SSNRA, Social Security normal retirement age. And if the year in which you reach Social Security normal retirement age, that $18,000 limit might not be enough because you may be employed full-time. So, and this, by the way, is how you calculate what is your SSNRA age.
That's a very useful chart.
It is. If you were born in 1958, at 66 and 8 months, that is SSNRA. You can begin to draw unreduced Social Security. But that's also the year that you turn 66 in 8 months. You have a limit, earnings limit of $50,520 in $21. Hey, when you say earnings, what are you talking about there? What counts as earnings? Well, earnings include income from wages or net earnings from self-employment. So, you know, if you got this other gig and you have expenses and you have income, you deduct the expenses from the income, that's your net employment. It includes bonuses, commissions, and severance pay. Yeah, but I've got other stuff too. Well, earnings do not include investment income. They don't include pensions, ding, 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 ding. So I could have begun my pension early. Doesn't include capital gains and inheritances. So, you know, I can be taking money out of my stock account if I had any in that. And that, therefore, dividends and capital gains won't negatively affect your Social Security. I'm not going to lose something because of that limit. All right, taxes on Social Security. The first 15% of your Social Security is tax-free. Warren Buffett, the first 15% of his Social Security, and I bet you dollars to donuts that Warren Buffett's taking his Social Security. That's how we got to be a billionaire. And he's not paying taxes on that at all. How much you pay tax on, the rest of it, it's going to be either 0, 50, or 85% of the rest. And notice that's not a tax rate. Like they're going to take 85% of it. No, that's only 85% of the Social Security is covered by your taxes. But how do I know what percentage that is? Well, there's a chart showing if you're making between $25,000 and $34,000 as a single, or $32,000 and $44,000, 50% of your Social Security will be subject to tax. Well, state taxes on Social Security. In 37 states, your Social Security is state tax-free. 13 states do tax some or all of your Social Security. Those dirty 13 would be Colorado, and Iowa. So look and see and decide, do I still want to live here? All right. So, savings. In addition to cash, stocks, and bonds, you have hidden savings. What do you mean by that, Patrick? Well, you know, you've got things like home equity. And you may not think of that as being a savings, but it is. You may be able to tap that if you need money in retirement. You have life insurance. And I want to point out, by that I mean the cash value of any cash policies that you have, and not what you get if you if your spouse mysteriously disappears. Have a good alibi. All right. Pension. Kim, what can you tell us about pensions?
Okay, pensions. So if you are lucky enough to still have a pension after all the bankruptcies we've all been through, when and how you can take your pension is going to be dependent on the carrier you started your career with prior to the merger. So there are some rules for Legacy U.S. Airways that only apply to them, and there are other rules for Legacy AA that only apply to that group. If you're U.S. Airways, it's even a little more complicated because you could have started your career at Allegheny, Piedmont, PSA, Trump Shuttle, or original U.S. Airways. And this can all go into when you can start your pension. So basically, here's a little chart. This is for U.S. Airways. The shuttle people are lucky. Their early pension age is age 52. Their full pension age is age 62. For every group here, there's a 3% reduction per year if you start your pension early. So Piedmont, Allegheny, U.S. Airways, early pension age is 55, and full pension age is age 62. For PSA, early pension age is also 55, but their full pension age is age 65. So they have to get stuck with that reduction a little bit longer, but you know, if they want to take it early, it all factors in. All right, for Legacy AA pensions, and I do want to point out, we're going to talk about double dipping in a minute, and there's no double dipping allowed for the Legacy AA pensions. So the early pension age for Legacy AA is age 55. That's once you've retired. If you're already 55 and you have your 15 years of retirement eligibility service, you can start your pension at age 55. Full pension age is age 60, and the 3% reduction that we discussed earlier for every year you take your pension early still applies. So double dipping, there has been a rule change recently with the PBGC pensions, and it was called the working retirement restriction, and it's been done away with. And beginning 6/1/2021 for legacy U.S. Airways PBGC pension holders, you can now double dip if you choose to do so, starting at the early pension age or any time before you reach your full pension age. So call the PBGC if you have questions. The early reductions do still apply, even if you're working and double dipping. And like I said before, no reduction at the full pension age. So, Patrick, how many different ways can I take my pension?
Well, that's a really good question. And the answer is there are 3 basic ways to get your money. The first is a single life annuity. The PBGC calls it a straight life annuity. Fortunately for us in the airline industry, the acronym SLA is the same because that's what everyone calls it, the SLA. You can also share with someone else, and I do remind you it's nice to share, or you can get a minimum number of checks. And there's a 4th option if you're a legacy AA pension holder, and that's more upfront, less later, level income option. Let's look at those. SLA, you get a check every month until you're dead. Questions? Yeah, no, because that's pretty straightforward. And that's what most people think of as what they think of when they think about a pension is the single life annuity. A payment every month is an annuity. For life means it's a life annuity. It's for one life, yours, and that's where they get the phrase single life annuity. And that single life annuity is the normal form of benefit. Well, what do I mean by normal form? Is that what everyone takes? No. The normal form means when the company hires you and they start funding the pension, they have to make some assumptions about how long you're going to live, how long you're going to draw the pension, how much you're going to make, inflation, and so on. And one of the assumptions they make is how are you going to take your pension? And the assumption is you are going to take the single life annuity. And so they fund it for that value of the single life annuity. And the value of that single life annuity determines the other payment forms. Well, what about those other options? Well, let's look at them. It's nice to share. It's a pension for your life and someone else's life as well. They'll get an annuity for their life after you're gone. They survive you, so we call it the survivor annuity. You don't get a check at the same time. That you get a check until you're dead, and then they get a check until they're dead. Well, okay, but here's the problem. Remember, it's still the same big pile of money. We're just dividing it up differently. And you can choose to leave them 50 to 100% of what you're getting with the joint and survivor. Not your single life annuity amount, because your amount goes down. But here's the problem. The more you leave them, the less you get while you're alive. Oh, crap. I'm going to have to leave something for Bozo, because otherwise I'll be living under a bridge. So, you know, it's just the risk you take that, you know, I'm going to have to do that. So, all right, I'll just bite the bullet and take last one alive. But what happens if they die first? Oh, crap. Well, I'm stuck at that lower monthly amount. I would have had more had I taken the single life annuity. There's a technical term for it. You're screwed. Yeah. But there is a way to cover that risk. Flight attendants have another option. It's called the pop-up option. And by taking a slightly lower amount each month while you're still alive, if the joint annuitant dies first, you pop back up to the single life annuity amount for the rest of your life. It's not that big a reduction. The amount of the difference between the joint and survivor pop-up depends on the age difference between you and your joint and survivor. But it's cheap coverage because, you know, life's uncertain. I know you married that 32-year-old pool boy. You go. But, you know, you're home 7 days a week now. They could be a lot more annoying than you remember, and those plane accidents happen. So life's uncertain. It's good and cheap insurance. And most people are going to take one of these 2 options. And by most, I mean like 95% of the people that take a pension are going to take the single life annuity or joint and survivor, and almost always with the pop-up option. But there is another option, and that's the guaranteed period certain. Checks come for a minimum of 10, 15, or 20 years, or 5, 10, or 15 years. And because you're going to get less because you've got that guaranteed period, it ordinarily doesn't make much sense. The only time it really makes any sense, if you're pretty sure you're going to be dead soon, like you've got something terminal, pancreatic cancer or something, then maybe it might make sense in that. It's a rare option, but you should know it's out there. And then Legacy A has a fourth option, and that's level income option, which is more upfront, less later. And this is even rarer, where the only time I ever see it is when people like all of a sudden are suddenly retired. They took the sudden out, and they don't have enough money now, but they will when Social Security kicks in. American says, hey, we got a deal with for you. We'll give you more now and then give you less after your Social Security age. Yeah, it's like I say, it doesn't apply to many people, but hey, it makes sense. How do you apply for your pension? Well, no earlier than 90 days before the start of your pension. You can request a pension kit, over the phone by calling the Pension Service Center, option 1, 2, 3, 4, or you can visit the Pension Service Center online and request your pension. That's where you went and got your estimate, and you click Get an Estimate. The button just to the right of that was Get My Pension. If you click the Get My Pension button, the computer will generate a kit for you. If you're a LUS or you have PBGC pension, you can call the PBGC directly. Do you pay taxes on pensions? Oh, yeah. Yeah. You pay federal income tax on pensions as ordinary income, either somewhere between 10 and 37% rate. Here's the current federal tax rate for 2021. So depending on how much money you're getting, you're going to pay anywhere between 10 and 37% on that incremental income. Oh, by the way, some states don't tax pension. 14 states don't tax pension, and 4 states only tax a portion of it. And remember, your mileage may vary. These numbers are used for some mythical flight attendant and not for you. Hey, Kim, you got any pension tips for us?
I do. Okay, some good general pension tips. Pension kits, as Patrick mentioned before, but we can't mention this often enough, can be requested 90 days out from your retirement from either AA or the PBGC.
How about 91 days?
91 days? No.
All right,
no
90 days.
Further out than 90 days.
All right.
Pensions always start on the first of a calendar month, and not the bid month. Forget about the bid month. You want to be done with your last trip before the end of the previous calendar month, and you don't want to have any fly through into your retirement month because that could mess up your first month of your pension eligibility. Have copies of your divorce decrees,
all of them?
quadros, everyone. I'm going to have more than one, unfortunately. Your pension will be delayed if these documents are not already on file or included with your pension kit. I say submit them with your kit. Don't assume that they're already on file, even if you sent them in before. If you're a widow or a widower, you need to include a copy of your spouse's death certificate with your pension kit when you return it. And the first month is always going to be paid retroactively. So even if you get your pension kit in 2 months out, they don't process it until you actually retire. And it's going to take them about 6 or 8 weeks to get you your first check. However, you will get paid for that first month retroactively. So your first check will be a big one. And then after that, should be like clockwork on the first of each calendar month that you receive your pension payment. Okay, so for Legacy AA flight attendants, there exists something that's called the Qualified Pre-Retirement Survivor Annuity. So you see the words pre-retirement. The federal law says that if you have a pension and you pass away before you commence your pension benefits, your spouse automatically gets a 50% joint and survivor annuity. This QIPSA, it's called Qualified Pre-Retirement Survivor Annuity, allows you to elect to leave 100% of your pension benefits to your spouse if you pass away before you commence your benefits. So again, this is only something that was negotiated way back when for the Legacy AA flight attendants. The form can be found on JetNet or on the APFA website. And flight attendants are the only work group that have this with no extra cost. So if you talk to a pilot, they'll say, don't fill out that QIPSA form. If you do, they're going to reduce your pension. Well, that may happen if you're a pilot. It doesn't happen if you're a flight attendant. Also, it's because it's a pre-retirement form. Once you retire and commence your pension benefits, this goes away. It's null and void once you actually commence your pension benefits. You have other options to make at that point. To choose at that point. And, oh yeah, no deathbed marriages. You have to have been married at least 12 months in order to fill out the QIPSA form and have your spouse down for 100% pension benefit. So, any questions, Josh?
All right. Let's go to the first one. Today I called the HR benefit number to ask a couple of questions regarding my pension. I was directed to PBGC, who took down my personal information to verify my identity. And the man who told me that the information said I work for United, I said no, I work for American. He said they don't handle American Airlines. Then why was my call directed to PBGC? I called because I wanted to ask a couple questions.
So this sometimes happens, unfortunately. I don't know if it's a glitch in the phone system, or if you go through the menu with team member services, you have to hit option 1 in the first menu, option 3 in the second menu, and then option 4 in the third menu. And I think sometimes people hit option 3 in the third menu, and that sends you to the PBGC. So just call back and, hit the right options to get through to someone who can answer your questions about the legacy AA pension.
Great. Can we take 25% of our pension tax-free and without penalty?
Patrick?
No. Your pension is always going to be taxed as ordinary income. I'd love to be able to take 25% of my pension out, but your pension was always paid out as an annuity. You get one of those 3 or 4 options, but those are the only options you get.
Just to be clear, pension will not offset Social Security.
That is correct. Sometimes you will hear from some of our LUS brothers and sisters about the Social Security offset, but that's an adjustment to the LUS pension. It has nothing to do with Social Security.
Great. All right, next one. Can you take your pension at age 55 and still continue to fly? If so, are there penalties and taxes other than income taxes? How does it affect the overall monthly payout? Patrick.
Okay, you didn't tell me what airline pension you've got. So if you have a PBGC pension, you can take your pension and continue to fly. If you take it before your full pension, unreduced pension age, yes, you'll take a reduction. How does it affect my taxes? It's as though you picked up a couple extra trips. It's just added on top as additional income. So you remember our chart about the federal tax bracket. It depends on what bracket you're in, how much of that new money you'll pay. But it's on top, so it's always at the highest rate.
Okay. This is a LUS PBGC pension question. What is the age that one can accept early retirement for the PBGC pension?
Again, you didn't mention which airline you work for. If you were shuttle, you can take your pension from the PBGC as early as age 52. You, of course, will have a reduction. If you're Piedmont, Allegheny, U.S. Air, you can take it as early as age 55. PSA as early as age 55. The reduction is different because of the difference in full pension age. But you can take it as early as that if you're willing to take the reduction.
And the second part of this, does the retroactive pay that started in June 2021 apply to those with early retirement dates? If not, what is the age to receive the retroactive pension pay?
The retroactive pension pay only applies if you have not yet reached your full pension age. So if you're anywhere prior to your full pension age, which for let's see, Shuttle, Piedmont, Allegheny, and U.S. Airways is age 62. For PSA, it's age 65. Then you are eligible for the retro to June 1st of 2021. If you've already reached that full pension age, the PBGC is saying, hey, you could have been taking it already, so you're not eligible for any retro.
Great. Patrick, how is the monthly pension amount determined? Is there a total amount?
Each pension plan has its own formula for determining what the pension's going to be, and it's complicated. There's lots of math involved, and for geeks like me, we love that stuff, but I won't bore you with it. But what I will tell you is that all of the pension plans are now frozen or with the PBGC, so they're not going to change based on any work you do. So if you go to the PBGC and pull up a pension estimate, or you go online with the LAA pensions and pull up a pension estimate, that's a good solid number. And they're going to want to know, when are you going to stop working and when are you going to start your pension? And are you planning on sharing this? And if so, what's the birth date of your joint annuitant? And when they give you that, on the PBGC side, it's usually right within like $2 or $3, and on the LA side, it's usually right within $1. So that's a good solid estimate. That's a good way to find it out.
Okay. Is my pension only accessible at retirement, or may I obtain my pension while still working? 68 years old. Kim.
All right, well, again, that depends on where you started out your career. If you're Legacy U.S. Airways, you can start it, while you're working. If you're Legacy AA, you can start it, you'll have to wait until you retire. Even if you're 68, they're not going to let you start it until you actually retire, unfortunately.
Okay. If I request my frozen LAA pension and then reapply with American Airlines, took a VOP separation as of August 2009, I think last year, does my pension freeze again?
That's a really good question. It actually came up several times because we had people who took the VOP and then decided they really missed the job and either wanted to come back and be a junior flight attendant. I tried to explain to some of those people that being a junior flight attendant and being a senior flight attendant are two totally different worlds, but or they went and got a job on the ground. And if you come back into the group that has that pension, your pension will freeze again. And that was actually a part of an old federal law preventing employers from allowing employees to access the pension early by claiming you're retired, you start your pension, and then we bring you back on.
Okay. 9 more pension questions, and we'll move on to Social Security.
Wow.
Lots of questions about pension. Okay, if I'm still working and not collecting my Legacy AA pension, which I cannot do anyway until I retire, and would happen to pass away, would my spouse be able to collect my pension?
That's a great question. Federal law said that your spouse automatically gets that 50% joint and survivor annuity. So that's a done deal. But you have an option to say that your spouse is going to get 100%. And you fill out that QIPSA form that Kim was talking about, Qualified Pre-Retirement Spousal Annuity, which we all call the QIPSA. And your spouse will get, if you check the 100% box, they'll get 100. There's also a 75 and a 66% box. And you check those if you don't like your spouse as much.
Or you're a pilot.
Or you're a pilot.
If I do retire and the pension plan goes bankrupt and I'm grandfathered in to keep receiving my pension?
Your pension is insured. So if the company goes bankrupt, the pension isn't going to go bankrupt. If the company goes bankrupt and they convince a bankruptcy judge that they need to transfer the LAA pension over to the PBGC where it can be with its cousins, the LUS pensions, then you get the protection of the PBGC. There are some limits on that, most of which don't apply to flight attendants. For instance, there would be a $56,000 a year pension limit. Anybody got a $56,000 a year LA pension? Anybody?
I wish.
I wish. But yeah, so that one doesn't apply to us. And the only other one you would have to consider is if you decide to take your pension earlier, there are some limits there as well.
Hey, I'm 48, flying 23 years, AA frozen pension under spouse health benefits and qualify to retire. And this individual is returning from EVOA. For medical reasons, their doctor said they can't return to work. will they be able to tap their pension before the age of 55?
LAA, no, you can't tap the pension before age 55. You're eligible to retire, and that's one of the things that's really easy to confuse in your brain. The retirement and being eligible for pension and being eligible for Social Security, all three different thresholds. So you may be eligible to retire, and you said you were 48. You are, with 23 years, you qualify under the 65-point plan to retire from American. You don't qualify yet for Social Security. You don't qualify yet for your LAA pension.
Does this individual need to be out on a documented medical leave for a certain amount of time before they can collect payments from pension?
No, you just need to be retired and of the age that you qualify for a pension payment.
And they also would probably need to call the Pension Service Center and check what's called their Retirement Eligibility Service. Because in order to start your pension at age 55, you have to have 15 years of retirement eligibility service, and that's not the same as company seniority. It's a little formula that's calculated into the pension plan. So if you were off to have kids, you flew low time, you may not have received a full year of retirement eligibility service every year. So it's always better to check ahead of time that you have enough retirement eligibility service to start your pension early if that's what you'd like to do.
Okay. Is there an option to have both Illinois and federal tax taken out of our pension?
Yes. When you fill out your pension kit, you will see that there's a W-9 form, and it's been so long since I filled one out for American Airlines, I almost forgot what they look like. But on the W-9 form, you get to determine how much of your pension you want withheld for federal withholding, and then the bottom quarter allows you to indicate what state you want state taxes withheld and a percentage amount for that as well.
Okay. Just received their kit. Who can they call for help filling it out?
I guess that would be me. Email me at retirement@apfa.org or 817-540-0108, extension 8490. If you have any specific questions about the different options and so on, I'll be happy to answer them.
What was that extension one more time?
8490.
All right, I just dropped in that email address and that phone number in the chat.
Yay.
Okay, next part of this. Are we still entitled to continue unemployment insurance after retirement on 10/1?
Is that near you?
Oh, I guess I'll take that. It depends on your state and how your state defines your status if you have retired. So you want to check with your state and say, hey, I'm currently eligible, but because I'm currently on an eligible leave, but that leave is going to end and I'm going to convert to retired status, and they can tell you whether or not you're eligible to continue getting the unemployment.
Okay. A couple other unemployment questions with this. For unemployment questions, you can also email unemployment@apfa.org. Okay. Can LAA flight attendants receive pension benefits like their LUS counterparts?
I suspect that they can we double dip, and the answer is no.
Okay.
Too bad for us.
So.
What is AA eligibility for pension? I'm 29 years and 53. When can I pull it from my frozen pension?
Most likely, you're going to be able to start a reduced pension at 55. But again, like Kim says, you have to check and see. Your years of retirement eligibility service determine whether you can start it at 55, 60, or 65.
All right, just a couple more and we'll move on to Social Security. If I'm on Social Security disability, can I take my pension at the same time?
Social Security disability, yes.
Yes.
Yes. If you're on Americans' long-term disability, they're going to reduce the amount of the pension from your Social Security disability, so it's the same as not taking it.
All right. Can you start your pension at AA while still working if you are at SSNRA, and is it for life?
You didn't say what pension you're talking about. If it's the LAA pension, no, you have to be retired. And you may You may hear from some of our senior people that that's not true. The thing is, when the plan was originally developed back in the 60s, I think in 67 when they wrote that book, they just took the rules out of Social Security that said, hey, at 70 and a half, you have to take your pension. Because obviously no one's going to fly all the way to 70. Come on, be serious. And then we did. So they decided, uh-oh, and they went and they changed it and said, you can't get your pension until you stop working. However, we had a couple of people who'd already turned 70 and a half, and they were sending them pension checks. So they let them continue. So you may hear stories, but that changed, oh gosh, 20-something years ago.
All right, let's take 2 more pension questions. There's still a few more coming in. We'll move on to Social Security, and then at the end, we'll go back to any of the pension questions.
Okay.
As legacy AA and 64 years of age and still working, can I collect my legacy AA pension now?
No, again, you have to be retired in order to collect the legacy AA pension.
You can collect your Social Security, but
Sure.
not the AA pension.
Right.
And you guys might need to help me with this one. Can you spell what that form is for 1005 to go to your spouse?
QPSA.
QPSA.
And that's on the APFA website. It's in the APFA Good Slide handout, and it's available on the pension website over on the left-hand side nav column.
All right.
Pension Service Center on JetNet, right.
That's it.
Great. Let's move on to Social Security. I'm 66 and a half. If I collect Social Security, can I still work, and am I limited on how much I can make a year?
Assuming the 66 and a half is at or later than your SSNRA, you can make an unlimited amount of money and not have any impact because you're drawing Social Security.
Great. Where did all those Social Security questions go?
That may be it.
Yeah, it looks like that's it. All right, let's continue on the presentation.
Okay, so we answered a lot of questions. Now we're going to go on and discuss our medical insurance options. This is a big piece of it for everybody. So here are some options, and we've got a few little dollar signs to give you an idea about how expensive these options are. None of them are totally cheap. We've got COBRA. We've got the AA retiree medical insurance, which is not the same as continuing your active benefits through COBRA. We've got options on the Affordable Care Act through healthcare.gov, Medicare for people that are eligible for Medicare, and the old-fashioned way. You can marry someone with insurance or die young.
I missed that vote.
I think I did too. All right, so COBRA. COBRA is a way to continue your active health benefits, the exact same benefits you had as an active employee. You don't have to establish your deductible or your out-of-pocket, so it's a good thing. The bad thing is, unless you were one of the VOP participants who got the active rate COBRA, that's the same as what you were paying as an active employee, but for most people in a regular retirement who are offered COBRA, it's going to be the full rate plus a 2% admin fee. The coverage will last for 18 months, and if you become eligible for Social Security within a certain period of time after starting your COBRA, you could be eligible for up to 29 months of COBRA. It must be taken within the first 60 days of retiring or leaving the company if that's when it's offered to you, and if you need the COBRA, you don't want to miss that enrollment window. It's a one-shot deal, so if you miss the window, they're not going to offer it to you again. So, more about COBRA. It can include medical, dental, vision, and flex spending, and you can mix and match the coverage. So, for instance, most people who are eligible for Medicare don't continue the medical because they're getting their medical through Medicare. But they do continue the dental and the vision because Medicare doesn't have great options for dental and vision. If you're not yet eligible for Medicare, most people continue their full complement of benefits for as long as they can, unless they have one of those spouses that has insurance or they're getting another job. Once the coverage begins, it's retroactive to the date of your retirement or the date that you leave the company, but there is a little bit of a gap. So you want to make sure, usually there's about 3 to 5 days before it's available online on the retiree's website, and you could go there to make your COBRA elections, or they're going to send you a packet in the mail, but that takes longer. The payments, it's very important to make your payments on time because you will be dropped if you make a late payment. So make sure, a lot of people set up an auto debit from their checking account so they don't miss any payments. Of course, if you want to drop it anywhere along the way, just miss a payment. It makes it easy. Oh, and as we mentioned before, if you're eligible for Medicare, COBRA is not considered to be creditable coverage for Medicare, so you want to make sure you sign up for Medicare. Don't try and use COBRA as your main primary benefit once you're eligible for Medicare. It won't work. And it's even questionable about whether you would want to try and use it as a supplemental. There's only a few instances where that might work for you. So talk to a Medicare advisor. They'll tell you what to do. COBRA is always secondary to Medicare. So as I mentioned before, if you don't sign up for Medicare and you try and use COBRA, the COBRA is going to pay as though you have Medicare. It doesn't work. All right. So AA retiree medical insurance. This is actually still a thing. We still have retiree medical insurance, but it's really expensive. And the eligibility criteria is limited. So you have to be between 55 and 65 and have at least 10 years of company seniority, so basically eligible for the 65-point plan. And then you pay the full cost, which is no small thing. The price is uncapped. It varies a lot from year to year, and this is because there's only a small group of employees who are in this plan. And if one year they have a lot of medical expenses, the price goes up for everyone. If there's a good year and people don't have a lot of medical expenses, the price can go down. Doesn't usually go down a lot though. So, retiree medical insurance, it's great coverage. See, here's what it is, $150 deductible, $1,000 out-of-pocket max for an individual. Not bad, it's like our old standard medical plan used to be. However, here's the kicker, the cost. So for 2021, it's $1,293 per month for just one person. Yeah, that most people don't really want that in their budget. So that's why we're always looking for other options, and so many of us are waiting to become eligible for Medicare before we retire. Now that our emotional support animal has faded, what are some other options? Well, the Affordable Care Act still exists. You go to www.healthcare.gov. If your income is low enough as a retiree, you may be eligible for tax credits and subsidized options. Also, VIA Benefits is a company that AA contracts with to help people find health insurance. So if you're not yet Medicare eligible, you can call the one number on top and they will help you find options on the Affordable Care Act in your state. If you're eligible for Medicare and you want their assistance finding good Medicare options, you can also call them for assistance. And all this information is in our APFA retirement packet as well. Medicare. Okay, employees and spouses over 65. This is just if you're still working, because we get a lot of questions from people who are still working and they're over 65, and they say, my best friend told me I have to go on Medicare. My sister told me if you don't go on Medicare, you're going to be penalized for the rest of your life. Well, as long as you're still working and you turn 65, you're not required to go on Medicare. So it's only when you retire and leave your employer-provided insurance that you are actually required to go on Medicare. So Medicare consists of Part A, Part B, and Part D. So normally what we're used to, we just have health insurance, and it includes our medical, it includes hospital, it includes our prescription drug coverage. In Medicare, they break all these down into separate components. So your Part A, which most people go ahead and sign up for while they're still working because it's free, is their hospital coverage. Part B is your medical, labs, doctor's visits, so on. And your Part D is your prescription drug coverage. So why they break it into components just to make it seem more complicated, I don't know, but that's the way it works. There are late enrollment fees, so when you retire and you're past the age of 65, you're entitled to what is called a special enrollment period. And there's a form you fill out and send into the company, and they'll mail it back to you, and you take it when you sign up for Medicare Part B, and it will show Medicare that you've had creditable coverage through your employer, and they won't assess you any late enrollment fees. So it's very important if you're planning to retire, probably about 60 days before you want to send this form in to the company, get it back, and then call Social Security, make an appointment, and have this in your Medicare Part B application ready to go when you're signing up for Medicare. And here's an example. This is the form that it's called the Request for Employment Verification, or the Medicare CMS-L564.
That just trips right up the tongue, doesn't it?
It does. I've said it a lot lately, I think. So anyway, if you need more information or have questions, it's all in our packet, and hopefully that will be a really good resource for you. All right, more about Medicare. Along with regular Medicare, the A, B, and D, you also need what's called a Medigap policy, or a Medicare supplement plan. This is what gives you your out-of-pocket max and deductible, because the other plans don't have an out-of-pocket max. They don't have a deductible, so if you're paying 20% and something bad happens, your 20% could get really big, so you need to cap that off, and that's what the supplement or Medigap plan will do for you. There are 10 different Medigap plans available. AA retirees have an 11th option, which is a VIVA Trust plan, and it was created specifically for retired airline workers and transportation workers. We have some information about that on the APFA website. And also another option is you can choose a Medicare Part C, which is also called a Medicare Advantage plan. This is more set up similar to an HMO. So you have a network of doctors you would have to go to, and if you're in a big metropolitan area, it could be great. They offer a lot of perks, health club membership, things like that. If you're out in the country, maybe it's not such a good option for you. So again, speak to a Medicare advisor and they'll help you find the right plan for you. Consult that advisor. And you can also go and get more information on www.medicare.gov. All right, the HCTC, which is a healthcare tax credit. For some of our PBGC pension holders, this is an option. If you're not yet eligible for Medicare, you're between the ages of 55 and 65, and you're on a PBGC eligible plan. So it would offer you a 72.5% credit, tax credit on your healthcare cost, which is great. It is not to be used like, say, you go on your spouse's insurance. Any sort of insurance that's paid pre-tax would not be eligible. However, COBRA is considered PBGC eligible, and there are a few other HCTC eligible plans out there. So right now, it's only been continued through the end of 2021. It's something that every year we go in and lobby to have the HCTC extended one more year. So stay tuned. We'll be lobbying for that again in DC, and maybe it will be extended beyond the end of 2021. You can get more information about the HCTC on the IRS website, irs.gov. All right, so we've covered a lot of important questions. What do you need to retire? What do you get in retirement? What about income? Patrick did a great job on that. So now, what else are those little annoying details that I need to research? Well, we have a few other things: life events, optional insurance coverage, dental insurance, your flex spending. So let's talk about life events. If you're planning to go on your spouse's insurance, your retirement is their life event. So basically, as of your retirement date, they're going to have 30 days to put you on their benefits. Some companies allow 60 days, but do it within the first 30 days just to be sure. So they have 30 days to file a life event and add you to their benefits. If you're married to another AA employee and you want to go on their benefits, the same applies. But remember, when you go on your AA spouse's insurance benefits, you're going to reset your deductible and out-of-pocket max, and that starts all over again. So some people retiring late in the year will go on COBRA just through the end of the year for a couple of months, and then have their spouse add them, their AA spouse add them during benefits enrollment for the beginning of the next calendar year, so they don't have to go through the whole new deductible and out-of-pocket max. So just an option. All right, optional insurance. So examples are Hyatt Legal, long-term care, your pet insurance, home and auto policies. All of these can be continued beyond your retirement date. You just have to contract the administrator for those benefits. Employee life insurance and accident insurance ends upon your retirement, but you can also contact the administrator, so you can port and convert it into an individual policy. You have the option to do that. The good thing is it doesn't require a physical exam to keep your life insurance. The bad thing is it's kind of expensive because you're changing from a group policy to an individual policy. So if you do want to do that, or at least find out how much it would cost to do that, you would contact MetLife for the life insurance and contact Lina for the AD&D and voluntary personal accident insurance. So when you retire, as far as long and short-term disability, that coverage will end, and that's not something you can continue beyond your retirement date. However, if you have an ongoing claim with long or short-term disability, you may be able to continue to get your benefits for a period of time, as long as you continue to be disabled per the criteria of those plans. All right, dental insurance. It's scary. Once you retire, it seems like there are limited options for dental insurance. And the company will offer you dental insurance when you retire. However, not very many people take this. It's not a great product. It's kind of zip code rated. It's a high cost and low benefit thing, so most people decline the dental insurance. Not the COBRA dental, they keep that as long as they can, but the actual retiree dental, not great. There are some other options. There's the AA Credit Union, who has a Benefit Services of America. It's like a dental network. It's not actually insurance, but if you sign up, you get discounts if you go to the doctors that are in that network. Costco also has a similar product that a lot of people use. There's dental schools. You can go in and be a guinea pig, and once the bleeding stops, your teeth will look fabulous, or so they say. Also, some of the Medicare supplement plans have now kind of figured out that retirees need dental insurance too, and they offer some dental riders and options that didn't used to be available even 10 years ago. So check with your Medicare advisor and see if they have any dental options that can be offered to you. All right, flex spending. We're getting ready to wrap up all these little things. So flex spending, it's important to remember that you want to use, if you have a flex spending account, you want to use all the dollars that you've deposited into that account prior to your retirement. Because once you retire, you will have the option to continue the flex spending account via COBRA, but why would you do that? You'd be paying post-tax dollars to pay for your flex spending. So use it all before you leave. Say you put in $100 a month, so that's $1,200 for the year, and you leave in October, AA is going to have to eat those last 3 deposits. So you get to use it all, and they pay the last 3 deposits for you. That's the way it works. So make sure you don't leave anything behind when it comes to the flex spending account. You use it, they lose it. Unlike in a normal year, if you don't use it all, you lose it. So, well, I know I've covered a lot here. We've covered a lot today, right, Patrick?
Yes.
And I don't know, I feel overwhelmed. I think a lot of the people we're presenting to feel overwhelmed about everything they have to do if they're going to get ready to retire. So do you have any like reassuring things to say? Any tips about that?
I do. I want to make the observation that there are a lot of moving pieces to transitioning into retirement. But I also have known flight attendants who don't recognize their skill set. I mean, you handle hundreds of people on every flight, every day you go to work. And it's to someone who's not in the industry, that just seems overwhelming. But you've done that for how many years now? You've got control. So what else do you need to do before you leave? How about start a list? A great checklist is on page 39 of the APFA Retirement Package Good slide. What do you do with a list, a checklist? One task, step at a time, in order, just like the planned emergency checklist. How many years have you used the planned emergency checklist at CQ? You know how to use a list. Start one. Do it. You will find that a planned departure checklist will work wonders in keeping you focused on what you need to be doing. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Check with the company. Check with Kim, the APFA. And you know what? You're going to do it. You're prepared. You really are. You may not think about it. You may not have confidence, but you are prepared. You've got this. You're ready. Let's go. Good slide.
Yay!
Questions, Josh?
All right. Get that pulled up. Get our feet back up. Okay, so let's go on to COBRA now. I'm eligible for the 65-point plan. I have 30 years with American and I'm 54 years old. Can you keep your medical with American if you retire early, or do you need to work until you're eligible for Medicare?
So I'll take that one. You can keep your medical for a period of time via COBRA, but if you retire, for instance, at age 54, your 18 months of COBRA is not going to carry you all the way through to Medicare age, so you would have to do something in between, you know, find something on the Affordable Care Act, get another job, Starbucks, work 40 hours so you can get benefits, you know. So that's why a lot of people do wait until they're Medicare eligible before they retire, because or they wait until they reach the age where the COBRA coverage will carry them through to their Medicare eligibility date.
All right, got a two-parter. Will AA send us an application for medical insurance or COBRA continuation? Will it be at the current employee's rate? Will we get information and instructions to set up the medical debit fund? Okay,
so there's two groups of people we're talking to here today. There are those who took the VOP, and if you took the VOP, you do qualify for what they call active rate COBRA. So you will be offered COBRA at the active rates. Any other person who's doing a regular retirement, for instance, the people who are choosing not to return from the EVLOA, they will be offered COBRA at the full rates. For both of those groups, the COBRA is triggered at your actual retirement. So it's not something you can sign up for prior to your retirement. And you will get a packet in the mail. It could take 2 or 3 weeks for AA to send that out to you. And the best option, and what people tend to do, is go on the retiree's website. And as I mentioned before, usually they will have your COBRA eligibility criteria and options uploaded on the benefits section of the retiree's website about, 5 to 7 days, say, after your retirement date. So go on the retiree's website, keep checking, and when you see you're prompted to make your COBRA elections on the website, you can go ahead and do it. Once you sign up for COBRA and make your first payment, it will be retroactive back to your retirement date, and it will be as though you never lost your benefits. However, your active benefits do end at midnight on your last day as an active employee. So if you're using COBRA, you want to try and get signed up for it as quickly as possible.
Thank you. will we have an option to continue dental insurance and legal insurance? Will that be at current rates?
So the dental insurance is going to be one of the options you're offered with COBRA, and the dental and vision insurance is not subsidized by the company to the same extent that the medical insurance is. So you'll be paying a little bit more on COBRA for your dental and vision, but it's not going to be as dramatic a price increase as it is with the medical. What was the other one? Hyatt Legal is one of the ones that's your AA added benefits, and for all of those, you can continue them, but you have to contact the administrator of that benefit and tell them you want it to start being billed directly in order to continue that benefit.
Okay, great. If our medical coverage ends on September 30th, will we have a gap in medical coverage between October 1st and whenever COBRA kicks in, should we choose it?
You're going to have the appearance of a gap, but you don't really. Your active medical coverage will end at midnight on September 30th, and then your COBRA hasn't kicked in yet. So say on October 2nd, you're out doing your new hobby, which is skydiving, and you misjudge that landing and shatter your ankle. You go to the hospital. They're going to say, hey, you don't have any insurance. You say, well, yeah, I'm going to have COBRA. They don't believe you. They have yacht payments to make. They need money now. So you're going to put up your Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and pay for it. And then when your COBRA finally kicks in, it kicks in retroactively. And you file that with the COBRA people, you claim, and they go, oh, yeah, you were covered then because we turned it on retroactively, and you get it reimbursed.
All right. I'm 58 years old. My spouse and I will be continuing the 18-month medical coverage. Is there any action to be taken from my side, or will I receive information on payment options?
So again, there is action to be taken. You're the one that has to make sure you make the COBRA elections and make your first payment within the first 60 days. Otherwise, you'll have missed the window. AA is going to send you a packet. It takes a few weeks, or you can go on the Retiree's website and make your elections online. And that's usually quicker and easier.
How about the added benefits? Should directly the
Added benefits, yes, in our packet and also in the VOP packet. If you took the VOP on the benefits section of JetNet and the Retiree's website, they have the list of all the benefits administrators, and you can go there and get the number. And if you want to continue any of those added benefits, just let them know, and they'll be happy to send you a bill.
You know what, we've talked quite a bit about different resources on JetNet and on the APFA website. If I share my screen, why don't we walk them through where to find some of these resources?
Sure.
Okay, so to get to the retirement page.
So to get to the retirement page, you click on departments, and then go down to the little hourglass, which is our retirement symbol. And then we pretty much have everything in there that you're going to need.
Here's the retirement handbook.
The retirement packet, that's the one that was updated on July 21st of 2021. So that's the most recent retirement packet. That's the main thing you're going to get from the APFA website.
Great.
And all these presentations are on there as well.
Cool.
So if your friends missed the presentation today, they can go watch it.
Yeah, that was something I was going to mention too. This town hall is being recorded. So after the town hall's over, we'll send the video out via hotline for anyone that missed it, and it'll also be dropped in here on the retirement page. What about JetNet?
Okay, on JetNet, you're going to go to Team Member Services, Health and Benefits, and then over on the left-hand side, you see Benefits Information, and they will direct you to my.aa.com. So you can go directly to my.aa.com without having to go through JetNet, but that will get you there as well. And the good news is, even if you're a retiree, you have access to my.aa.com so that you can get into all of the added benefits that we have available for active and retired employees.
Great. Is there anything else we need to?
The Pension Service Center, do you want to show them how to get there while we're on
Sure.
that net?
While we're there, yeah, go back to Team Member Services at the top, and you'll see the bottom line there's Leaving American. And you'll see Pension Service Center and no obvious way to get there. Well, if you click the Read More, that opens the Pension Service Center, and we may have an issue with your sign-in because I don't think you have a Pension Service Center.
No.
Yeah, so
That's where you would find it.
that's where you would find them, yes.
Yes.
If you have an LAA pension, that window will open, but if you don't have an LAA pension, then you're going to get that blank screen.
If you have an LAA pension, it will open and your name will be up in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. And above your name, it will say Home, My Pension, and Chat. So you click on My Pension, and then you'll have a page open up, and it will ask you if you want to estimate your pension or if you want to request your pension. And you just follow the prompts from there.
Great. All right.
And the Legacy U.S. Airways folks would need to call the PBGC, and there's a login on the PBGC website, which is My PBA, which is, I think, in the process of being changed to another type of login. So definitely get that information from the PBGC.
Okay. Continue on with two more COBRA questions, and then we'll move on to Medicare. This individual's on the October VOP with 12 months of pay, got 30 months of medical benefits at active employee rates. COBRA takes over for the remaining 18 months of active employee rates of health benefits. Will they still be able to participate in annual enrollment if they want to change the option of core, standard, or high-cost coverage?
And the answer to that is yes. You can participate in annual enrollment when you're on COBRA, and you can change plans when you're on COBRA during annual enrollment.
Next one, what are the COBRA rates?
The COBRA rates are in our packet. Yay! So I can give an example for a single person if I can find it. Where are they?
And again, that packet's on the
That packet's on the web.
we showed.
Right. So for COBRA for 2021, for the high cost coverage, for one person it's $1,120.85. So if you're on the high cost coverage and you're going to COBRA, you might want to switch to one of the other plans. And for the standard medical plan for one person on COBRA for 2021, $605.94. For the core plan, which is the high deductible plan, $538.64 for one person. So all the rest is in the packet and also on my.aa.com.
Great. All right, moving on to Medicare. Am I able to get Medicare as well as AA employer health insurance if I do not retire?
Well, the broad answer is no, that you have to waive out of your American Medical to get Medicare. And we get one or two people a year whose sister said you have to start Medicare, so they fill out the 3 forms, swear under oath, give blood, that they are waiving out of their American plans in order to start Medicare. They get onto Medicare and discover that's a whole lot more expensive than their AA plan, and they want back in, and they can't. So you can't be on both. Having said that, there is one little thing, in that you can have Part A simultaneously with your American Medical plan, but there's nothing that Part A covers, that I've discovered, that the American Medical plan doesn't already cover. So, yeah, it doesn't hurt, doesn't help. Yeah, you can do it.
Okay, I got an update on that.
Oh, go for it.
Update on that is you can sign up for all parts of Medicare along with your AA medical plan.
Yay!
And Medicare will be secondary to AA medical unless you specifically tell them that you want Medicare to be your primary coverage. If you tell them that you want Medicare to be your primary coverage, they'll drop your AA coverage at that point. So you can have it as secondary. If you want it to be primary, your AA coverage will be dropped.
But Medicare is expensive. That's an expensive secondary.
Why would you pay for both? I don't know. So most people keep their AA benefits if they work past Medicare and then use that special enrollment period to sign up for Medicare when they retire.
I know a lot of people that keep working because the AA medical is so much better for their situation, so, yeah.
All right. As a military retiree, I will begin my Medicare next year for my 65th birthday on May 31st. Are my options for Medicare A plus B or only B?
So this is one of those questions that we're going to have to refer you to TRICARE or Medicare because we're not experts on how Medicare and TRICARE coordinate. So I would go to your military TRICARE advisor first, and they'll probably be able to answer your questions rather than calling Medicare or Social Security, because I think probably TRICARE is going to have the best answers for you on that one.
Right, and you didn't say if you were already retired or going to retire. If you're still active, you don't have to be on Medicare or TRICARE. You can stay on Americans, which of course will probably be better.
Most people have TRICARE, have it as a secondary to the AA employee coverage.
Okay. I've had Medicare B for 10 years with our BCBS as primary, First Blue Cross Blue Shield, retiring 10/1 and would like to keep BCBS until 12/31 as supplemental since I have met all deductibles for drugs and medical. I would start with the Medicare Supplement G or F and Plan D 11122 and drop the AA insurance. Does this sound like the best option? Will the BCBS be at the current rates?
Okay, so if you're retiring 10/1, it sounds like you took the October VOP that had you on payroll for 12 months. So if that is the case, then your AA coverage would be at the active rates for those final 3 months of the year. You just want to make sure you check with the Medicare advisor to make sure you're not going to be penalized or have them ask questions when you sign up for the supplement plan. I don't think there would be a cost penalty, but sometimes if you delay signing up for the supplement, they ask health questions. I think in this case, you're going to be good because I'm pretty sure you have 90 days with your special enrollment period, or maybe even a little longer, to sign up for your supplement plan. So check with the Medicare advisor. That's the best advice I can give.
Right. Do I have to go on Medicare as of October 1st, or can I stay on my insurance until January? Will my monthly charge be the same as I pay now? Also, how is healthcare account going to be? Card to use or submit expenses?
Okay, so this is a bunch of different questions, some of which I just covered. So you can keep some people who retire close to the end of the year, keep their AA as secondary because they've already met their deductibles and out of pocket, but just discuss the implications of that with the Medicare advisor. As far as the RHRA, card or submit expenses, guess what? It's going to be both. So for your small expenses like a prescription or something, you should just be able to swipe the card and the system will recognize that it's an eligible expense and it will go through. For premiums such as, your COBRA or your Medicare premiums, you're going to have to show proof that you paid those premiums and then get reimbursed.
Okay.
And there are some information about the RHRA, which is on JetNet, and they give you an example of what you provide in order to prove that you've paid for those premiums.
Can you get Medicare early if you are still working and drawing the pension under LUS, but you are only 55?
The only time I know that you could do that is if you qualified for Medicare early due to some sort of a disability. So if you were out on an injury for more than a certain period of time, I think it's 24 months, and you qualified for Social Security disability, you might become eligible for Medicare because of that. Otherwise, if you're 55, you can't just start Medicare early. You would have to go to the Affordable Care Act plans. That would probably be your best option.
All right. This one's a little bit lengthy. Bear with me. On my retirement in October, I'll be applying for Medicare Part B. One of the sections on the form to fill out requires a company official to answer some questions about my current group health plan, date coverage began, ended, and when I worked for the company. My husband, who has been on my plan since he retired from the company in 2019, will will now also apply for Part B and needs a company official to fill out the same form. Who in the company do I contact to have these forms filled out?
Okay, so the form is the one we showed earlier in our presentation. It's that Medicare Employment Verification Form, or the CMS L564. And in our packet, on page, what page is it? One of the last pages, there's a fax number. You fax it in. You can also upload the form on JetNet. So the form's available on JetNet. It's actually a Social Security form, so you would have to get it from Social Security or the Medicare website. If you ask me, I'll email it to you. And then there's a fax number. That's usually the easiest way for most people. Fax it into the company. They're going to snail mail it back to you. And if you're married and you and your spouse are both going on Medicare, you're each going to need to send in a form. So there's an Elite fax number. It's available on JetNet, and it's also in the APFA retirement packet. So it's weird because it looks like it's a Chicago number, but it's their fax scan center that scans it into their system. So don't get freaked out when you see it's like a 847 area code.
Okay, let's move on to RHRA. Can you tell me where to access the $150,000 medical money, and where do we find what it is good for? Insurance premiums?
So the RHRA is just applicable to those people that took the VIAP. You will, once you retire, you'll see your RHRA balance showing up on the retiree's website in the benefits section. And if you go to your benefits service center, you should click on like health accounts, and it will show you how much RHRA credit you're eligible for. And there's a guide in there that tells you what are eligible expenses, but it's pretty much comparable to what was eligible for your healthcare FSA if you had that before. So you can use medical expenses, dental, your vision, but no like teeth whitening, no boob jobs, butt lifts, no, those don't qualify. But any medical eligible expense should qualify, as well as post-tax premiums. So if you go on your spouse's insurance after you retire and their premiums are deducted pre-tax, those are not eligible. But COBRA and Medicare premiums and any other post-tax premium that you would pay, for instance, on the Affordable Care Act, those are eligible.
Okay. All right, moving on. How does American report the $30,000 lump sum payment that is supposed to be paid out before 8/15 for those who took the VIAP 10/1/20? It is reported as wages to the state and federal governments, even though have been separated from the company since 10/1/2020 and have not worked.
Okay, good question. And you didn't say anything about unemployment, so I guess you're talking about taxes. And there's two parts to that. The first is how much are they going to withhold, my federal withholding, and then how much are they going to tax it when I finally get down to my 1040. The withholding will be at the lump sum rate, which is now, used to be 25, it's now 22.5%. So they will withhold 22.5% of it and put that into your federal income tax. When you finally file your income tax on your 1040, it again depends somewhere between that 10 and 37%, depending on what your total taxable income was. And it will be wages. It's not special. We don't get taxed on this money.
Okay, this one's a two-parter. I'm retiring from EVLOA. Looking at the callback dates, my seniority should hold December retirement. What date will my separation from AA be, December 1st or 2nd?
Actually, your retirement date isn't dictated by the company because you're not on a early out. You're coming back from a leave and taking retirement. You determine when your retirement date is, and it's whatever date you tell them. And you want to sit down and do that carefully so that you get every dime that's on the table. But you determine the date of your retirement, not the company.
So if you're starting a pension, you want to make sure you're showing as retired on the first, or separated from the company on the first of the calendar month if you want to receive a pension payment for that month. I think what's going to happen is right now it's showing a retirement date of December 2nd for the December people, but the companies probably, and we're waiting to get this information from them, they're probably going to show everybody as having separated on December 1st. So stay tuned, and we'll try and get that information out there for you.
Great. I'm over 65 and we'll start Medicare. Will I have health insurance until that separation date from AA? And when should I expect to hear from the FA administration on further instructions?
So how old are they?
65.
They're 65, so they won't have health insurance. Well, they can elect to continue their health insurance via COBRA, but again, they're Medicare eligible, so they really need to sign up for Medicare if they haven't done it yet. Medicare Part A, Part B, Part D, and a supplement plan or an Advantage plan.
Great. When do you get your vacation pay?
You normally get your vacation pay on the last paycheck, which is, you retire on the 1st, you would get it on the 15th. And then they true everything up. Sometimes they pay you out for your sick time on the next paycheck. So it's usually on the 15th of the month, but occasionally on the 30th of the month after your retirement date. And this is assuming you retire on the 1st of a calendar month, which is what we usually recommend.
Okay. What benefits do I have available to me if I have a balance remaining in my HSA?
HSA or FSA? I guess they're saying HSA.
HSA.
HSA is the one that's linked to the core plan, right? And you can take that with you to use for Medicare expenses. Your FSA, you need to use it before you leave, and your HRA, which is the one where we get, a little bit of dollars for our points and everything that's not linked to the core plan, both of those you want to use it all before you leave.
Okay. As a VIA, how do we get reimbursed with the RHRA?
All that information is going to be available on the retirees website. If you took the VAP, you'll go there, you'll see your balance, and you'll see instructions for how to submit your claim.
Great. I have a Fidelity retirement account that has both pre-tax and Roth contributions. Will Fidelity tell me what amount of my account is pre-tax and Roth?
Yes, but you can't find it on the website. You have to call and ask. They pull it up. Every time I call and ask them, they pull it up and tell me, and I encourage them to have that available on the website. They keep saying, it's coming, it's coming.
My husband is on my insurance. When I retire, I will qualify for Medicare, so will not need the medical portion of COBRA. Can I assign my husband, who is younger, for the medical portion of COBRA?
Yes, if you're Medicare eligible and you have a younger spouse, you cougar, then yes, you can keep your husband on the AA benefits via COBRA for the full 18 months if necessary, and you can go on Medicare. So as we mentioned before, you can pick and choose with COBRA, and you can choose to have medical for him but not for you, and dental and vision for both of you.
All right, let's rapid fire a few more, and then we'll have to close out our meeting. Former TWA, I retired, do I have to take my 401k?
No, you can leave it right where it is, or you can roll it over somewhere. Your choice.
Does my registered companion become a D3 after retirement?
No, you're entitled to have a registered companion or a spouse at the same level of past privileges that you have, even after retirement.
Can I retire from a medical leave?
Yes. You don't have to return to active status. You can retire as long as you're eligible for the 65-point plan. You can retire from a medical leave.
Okay, so will there be another VOP offered in the next year?
Well, we've asked for another VOP, and the company says they don't have an overage at this point, and they don't need to offer another VOP. But, there's COVID going on, there's other strains developing. We don't know what's going to happen, and my crystal ball is broken today, so I don't know that answer, but, anything is possible.
Just as a data point on that, today's Jet News has a "We're hiring flight attendants" article.
Yeah. Took the 12-month V-up. Why does my retirement date say 9/27/21?
I do not know. I thought it would say October 1st, 2021, so,
For this individual, if you're still on, feel free to email the retirement email and we can get some more information.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks. I decided to change my mind about not returning 11/1. Would my retirement date, okay, so this is kind of the same question we answered earlier. Would the retirement date be 11/1 or could it be 12/1? So Patrick had mentioned.
You get to choose.
You get to choose, yeah.
you get to choose. Now, if you held 11/1 and you tell them you want to retire 12/1, you know, you may have a little period in there where they're putting you on personal leave or something where you have to pay an active rate for benefits. So it could affect your benefits if you do that, but, or you might come back to work and fly a trip or two in that month, or fly your 40 and then retire. So, check it out, with maybe scheduling for the implications of that.
Are retirees still eligible for the FedEx discount? I remember you mentioning that earlier.
Yes, they are.
75%.
Great. Decided to take my retirement instead of returning from my EVLOA. Where can I see that the company received my request to retire and which month it starts? I've only seen a list for those returning.
So it's on the Flight Service website. If you click on the, you know, cancellation of the EVLOAs and you scroll down below all the information, there's a list of people that held November and December and who said they're going to retire or who said they're going to return. It's all on the Flight Service website.
My retirement is official on 10/1/21. I took the 12-month option last year. How do we get access to the 100K medical spending account? Is it called HSA?
It's called the RHRA, and I think we've covered that already.
Paperwork to fill out? Yeah.
Oh, paperwork to fill out, and I see one here about paperwork to fill out for U.S. Airways pensions. And for the U.S. Airways flight attendants, former U.S. Airways flight attendants, there is something that's called the retirement notification form. So it's not specifically your pension paperwork, but if you're going to retire and, you know, and it was more of an issue before they did away with that early retirement rule. I think everybody's going to start taking their pension while they're working if they can, but they have a retirement notification form that you have to sign and your flight service manager has to sign. And I think in the past, they sent that to the PBGC to let them know that you were eligible to commence your pension. So there is a form for the U.S. Airways people, but I don't know if they're going to keep that or not going forward.
Okay, let's take two more and then we'll have to wrap it up for the day. Is there any scenario that I could lose my legacy AA pension if I have not yet retired?
The scenario would be that American goes bankrupt again, and at this time they convince the judge that they have to no longer have the obligation to fund the LAA pensions, at which point it would go to the PBGC. But you don't lose it. That's the whole point of having the insurance with the PBGC. They will pick it up and pay it based on what you had earned when the pension was frozen, assuming, of course, you aren't over $56,000 a year and other limits.
Okay. I think that's probably a good place for us to end on the Q&A session. As a reminder, there's a lot of resources available to you, our representatives, as well as the APFA retirement page and the JetNet page as well. We also will be doing another one of these town hall sessions on September 16th. We'll have a hotline that goes out with all the same information. Immediately following this town hall today, we'll have the video published to the APFA website and put out on a hotline. I want to take a moment to thank our wonderful and knowledgeable representatives who are here to help you guys figure out the winding road to retirement. So thank you guys for joining us today. We hope you have a very safe afternoon and fly safe.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.